It's cool out today, but it's good enough to take the door out and prime it, so that's what we're going to do. Shoot a coat of red oxide on that, and that way I can block it when I block those and paint all that stuff at once. It's still not, to where I want to put the Galaxie out to paint. It's supposed to start raining and sprinkles in a couple hours, around 3ish. They said it's 12:30, so it doesn't really give me enough time to, paint, and I just don't want to take a chance on the Galaxie sitting out in the foul weather. And then tomorrow we're supposed to have snow showers on and off all day long. And like I say, Saturday and Sunday is supposed to be nice, but I'm not going to be able to. I have other commitments both days, so I don't know. I might get an hour or two Saturday to work on the car, but not enough to paint. And so maybe, like I say, and then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday is supposed to be super nasty. So it might be the end of next week or next weekend before I can paint, but in the meantime, I can get this quarter panel finished up, and to where all I need to do is strip it and it'll be ready for paint, and I'll work on the other one and the other door. So things are really moving along quick, and I just want to get things in paint before bugs and pollen. Yeah, that primer comes out of the gun virtually dry, but the door looks really nice. My tape fell off that hole, so I hope I didn't get too much overspray on things in the jam. I don't think it'll get anything. But yeah, it looks super good. I'd say it's ready to give a block and a paint job. There we go. A little bit of the color out in the daylight. That's what I use. It's a stripping disc, and it takes that down to bare metal in no time. There's one little dent right there. I don't know if that shows up or not. Just a little tiny one. But anyway, I'm going to hit that with the DA now, and then I'll start putting some filler in. picture. Alright, I took the paint off from here down so I can put a little body filler on that without worrying about getting paint stripper. I can mask this off and then I can just strip this. And but I even cleaned up underneath here. I don't know if you can see that or not. I can't. The camera's on the tripod right now, but I decided to tackle this too, and I'll show you how I kind of find where the rust is. It looks like it ends here. Whoops, sorry, the camera is loose on the tripod, but it looks like it. So I'm going to have to replace it from here up, maybe up a little higher, and right up to there. So what I do is I just take my body hammer and I go around and tap it. And wherever it dents easy or goes through, it's weak. I'm going to need, see it dents easy there, and then it goes through. There it dents easy. So where it dents easy is thin metal, and then often the hammer will go through too. So I want to beat the heck out of this. It's rusted out on the bottom there, right here a little bit. So I think I'm going to cut it off. This is actually a joint from the inner panel to the outer panel, and the inner panel comes to right here. I can feel it around behind there, and then there's an opening between the two, and that's actually in good shape. So I think I'm going to cut the panel off here. And this is all really good back here. I went in the trunk, and I think the reason this is rotted out is the gas pocket thing was rotted out from the, the drain was plugged, and all that water ran down in here and rotted this out. So I think that's why this is gone. And the inner wheel well and inner panels are perfect. There's nothing wrong with them. It's just this outer skin, and this is where the molding goes on. And everything here would be underneath the molding that you see. The molding actually screws there, there, and back there, and right there there's a screw hole. And then these are holes where a nut goes in. Look where they, either from the punch press or something, that factory mess up in the quarter panel there. Anyway, I just wanted to kind of show what I do to determine how far I'm going to replace metal. See, when I peck the body up here, it's actually pretty solid. My hammer bounces off, but when I peck it here, my hammer doesn't bounce off and it dents it or goes through. So that's how I know. See how it's dents it real easy? That means that it's weak and needs to be replaced. So I went around and beat it all pretty good, and I think I'm going to try and save some of this wheel well areas. I looked in the trunk here, and there's sealer in here, and this is all really good. So I'm going to try not and cut the wheel well part out. I'm going to cut it maybe around like this. I'll draw a magic marker line on it and determine where I'm going to cut it, and then I'll make a repair panel and cut it out, trace the repair panel. I always leave a little extra. I have a little tool that can put a bend in it, and that on flat panels helps prevent warping. And it's a little tool that hooks into the air chisel, and you just run it down. You don't need much, an 1/8 or 1/16 inch, and you just run it, and it puts a little bend in the panel. And then when you put your new panel on, that bending behind there actually helps prevent warpage on the car body itself. You just got to get in there and paint and oil and undercoat where that seam is. Alright, let me get to work here on marking this out and deciding what I'm going to do here. Here's a money saving thing. I just take a jar with lacquer thinner and I stuff my spreaders in there, and then you just take them out when you need them, and they're completely pretty much all clean of body filler. I mean, yeah, you take them out, there might be a little on it, see, but you wipe it, but it comes right off as clean as a whistle. So that's a good way of saving money on buying a bunch of Bondo things all the time. Got a coat of filler on there. That's that Marglass stuff. And we'll let that dry overnight. In the meantime, I'm going to make a template for what I need to put in over here. And start cutting that out so I can replace this. That's the panel I made, and where I made it out of cardboard. This will obviously be up like so. But I went in the trunk. There's a little hole there, that's why. But this is fairly solid. I went inside the trunk and cleaned that out in there, and I think that that's going to be more than adequate to repair the rust. There was nothing back here. It was as solid as could be. I think the water, this is kind of angled down, so the water just sat probably in this part from leaking through there down into here. And the other side's solid. It's just this side that's gone, and I'm sure it's from the gas pocket being rotted out. I traced the cardboard out onto some sheet metal and cut it out, and then I just take my flat hammer, and the shears kind of made marks in it, and I went around and just tapped it all back straight. Just trying to get all the dents and imperfections out the best I can. And then I'm going to start figuring out where I want to put the bend to go underneath the quarter panel here. The next thing I do is figure out where I want to put the bend, and so I just kind of, that's about where the panel is going to go. So I'll make a mark at the end here. That's where the sheet metal is going, and then I can kind of just hold it up there and trace it and then take it over to the bender. This is kind of a really wide bend, so I have to adjust my bender to where it doesn't put a sharp bend in it. Maybe do, move it around in there and even put some cardboard. But that looks pretty good. I got to get up in the way of the camera to mark it, but I'm just going to trace this down here, holding it up to where I want it to fit under there to get the idea where the bend goes. There's bolts back here, and you can adjust this back and forth so it's further or closer to where it bends here to get a more rounded bend. But I'm just going to bend a little at a time and then take it over and check it, and then bend a little more elsewhere and just kind of slowly work at it. So I'm not going to video everything. You kind of get the picture. A metal brake is a metal brake, and I might pull this out, push it in a little bit more like so, bend it a little bit more, maybe go this way a little bit, kind of get it even. Oops. So you kind of get the picture. I took it over to the car and kind of fit it, and it looks like it's going to do pretty good like the rate I'm going. Just needs a little bit more, not a lot. And I'm going to try and make sure it's rounded like the quarter panel is. See how that's making a wider curve right here than a rather sharp one. And I'm going to go test this now. It's not a 90-degree bend over there, so this was about that far from the body when it was up there, so it just needed a little more bending, and I'll just slowly plug away at it. So this is kind of the panel fit up to the body, but it has a little bit of movement like that, so I don't know if I'm going to put pie cut up in here. I don't think I am. I think I'm going to clamp it really good down here and then tack it and then twist it up and bend it until it fits snug up there and then tack it. But in the meantime, I got to trace it out on there and cut that rusted out stuff out. So I'm going to do that right this moment. Now, because, you know, I'm just holding this up by hand, you know, I don't know how perfect a fit that is. You know, once I weld it, I might, you know, might need to move a little, so I'm going to cut it. And the line is obviously beyond the metal, so you want to cut it on the, you want to leave the line in view, but I think I'm going to cut it down here, and then I can just take my disc grinder and cut it, you know, fit it perfect to the panel, so the panel butt's perfect. Or I can take my tool and the air chisel, it puts a little, you know, bends it kind of such to where it adds strength to it wherever there's a bend, and then weld it on that. We'll see. I'm going to start, get the cutter out, and I got to clean it out in there too, so I'm going to get to it. That's as cut out. Inside panel here is really solid. I'll clean this up. That's the drain. It's where one of those rubber, you know, to where it deflects. That's why one hole's bigger than the other, so that the drain goes in, so the, you know, water isn't forced in, it's forced out. That way the little rubber flap, they're on the bottom of the rocker panels too, those drains. I'll have to get new ones because the two that were there I took off, and this one I took off. Actually, I have to get them for the other side too, so I'll need, I think there's 4 on each side, so I'll need 8 of them. So I'll order them when I got to order the bumpers for here, and some, you know, rubber for the windows, and a bunch of rubber stuff from trunk seal. So I'll order all that at once. And but I'm going to clean this up. You can see this is like the factory paint or sealer or whatever. So it's just this bottom that has a surface rust, and I'm going to clean that up and paint it. This I can have access. I can put my hand right up into the trunk. That's the trunk mat is right there, and so it's easy access to get in there to oil and undercoat that when I'm done. But I'm going to clean it up the best I can before I weld it up. And then the new panel, you know, when it's welded on, look pretty darn good, won't it? So just kind of hold it up there. This is what backside of what I cut out. And all the dirt that fell out of there when I cut it out. So there we go. So I've just spent a couple minutes sanding this out. It comes right down to bare metal. I got to be careful. There's sharp edges there, so I don't want to cut my hand. But basically just doing that, and it's coming up shiny metal. So I'm going to try and sand that out the best I can. From here forward, there's no surface rust. The surface rust actually ends right in here. That's just, it's kind of like a black paint in there, and then you can see there's primer right there, or sealer or whatever, gray sealer, and it's in pretty good shape in there. So I'm just gonna clean this up and zinc chromate prime it, and then when I'll paint that when I paint the inside of the trunk. I can get my spray gun in there. There isn't that big of a, it goes up to there, so I can easily, I mean, my fingers are on the top, that's the top. So I can easily get in there and spray when I paint the inside of the trunk, but I'm still going to prime it and paint it a little bit right now. Yeah, this is the stuff that takes the time. You know, I want it to last, so I'm going to get as much of that surface rust off as I can without cutting my fingers. I might get the Dremel with a Scotch-Brite and get in there too. You can see inside the trunk here kind of where I'm going to put that model. Let me turn the light off and you can see out there. That kind of gives you a picture of where those round holes are where the molding clips go on. So all the body work is going to be totally below the molding. And you can see up in there. Looks pretty good. We can get oil and undercoating after it's all painted up in there. So there we be. Welded on. So I'm going to grind out the welds. I didn't get any warpage up here. A little bit in right there. And I'm going to go in there like a little inward right there is the only warpage I can feel. And I'm going to go in the trunk with the body hammer after I grind it out and bump that so I don't have a bunch of filler, although there will still be filler in here, but I just don't want it super thick. And I'll get that finished and I fit the molding. The molding ends, you know, about here because the trim goes completely over this. Actually, the trim goes up to about here. And so all that's going to be under the trim. But I'm still going to finish it nicely. No more hole. Only light you can see through there is those screw holes. You can see where that stuff started burning away, and it just flakes off where it burned away. But I'll, like I say, I'll clean all that up because I'm going to paint the inside of the trunk body color and then speckle paint it like that. The body color the paint will protect the surface. The speckle paint's porous, so it'll just rust through that if you don't put a good paint job down first. Just wanted to make sure all the molding and everything fit good, and it does when I push it down on there. Fits underneath here where it's supposed to. So the trim covers most everything but this little bit right here. And yeah, it looks pretty good. I just taped the trim, and you know, it's just kind of hanging loose, but I just wanted to make sure everything was gonna go together okay, and it does, you know. But that goes up there, and that all fits good. I can't hold the camera and the trim at the same time, but take my word for it, it fits good. So you can kind of see the weld under there. I'll just finish that a little bit with some filler too. Got a kind of a deep warp there, and a little bit of a warp there, and I can't get in there too easily. I can't get in there at all with the body hammer, but I'm going to try and get in there with a block and tap it and see if I can push it out. There we go. I got the first coat of Marglass on there, or Duraglass, or whatever you want to call it. And I think that's going to sand out in probably one coat maybe, and then maybe a little auto body filler just to fill in any of the little pits or cracks or anything. But that feels and looks pretty darn good right now. And I'm going to, obviously when I paint the car, I'm going to paint right to this edge under here. And while I was horsing around back here, I straightened this out. That was smashed up, as you remember. And I'll have to clean out all the seam sealer the full length and reseal it. That's it for this video. I'm calling it a day. If you like my video, hit the like button. If you want to see this beautiful Galaxie looking like new again, subscribe to my channel. And thank you for watching.